numerical. This is not a measurement. It is an alphanumeric or huruf. Okay, so then the computer, you have to tag them like that. So the computer will understand, okay, this row, this column is for ID and they are not numerical. They are alphanumeric. All right, so with that $sign. Later on, you will realize this more when you do it and use the program. Okay, that is your data step. Okay, put in your data. Okay, now we are going to the processing steps. You have the data, you want to process the data, you want to analyze the data, whatever software, whatever test that you want to do. Okay, so in general, for SAS, the function is called proc. Okay, proc means for its procedure. This is a proc step. So you will have, okay, later on when you do the SAS, you will realize this. You have two different section of data preparation and then proc preparation. The SAS will give a line in between these two. Okay, so when you use the proc function, okay, it will control a library of pre-written routines or procedures. Means that SAS or R, they have their default or built-in many of the common statistical analysis. Okay, so what's that? Later on we'll see. Okay, they can perform tasks on your data sets, many of them. If you want to list them, sort them, summarizing the data, or you want to do inferential statistics, so it will begin with proc command. Proc something, okay, or previously data something, means that you are putting the data. Now another step, the procedure step, you have to start, your command should be start with proc and something. Okay, and then after you put in your codes, you will run. The computer will analyze the data, whatever procedure that you call, okay, t-test or ANOVA and so on. Okay, all right. So these are some of the important what can I call, important normal thing in SAS. Okay, you have to do this. All right, so when you put a SAS statement or command, okay, it begins with a SAS keyword like data or proc. Remember, data, proc, input, or whatever. There are several command or keywords. So you start with that. Let's say you want to put in data. So data space something something, and you should end it with a semicolon. Semicolon yang nota koma tu. Right? So setiap satu command line, you put in semicolon. Why do we need to put in semicolon? Means that you are telling the computer, all right, this is the end of this first line of instruction. That's like data, blah, 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 do this, do this, do this, do that, and semicolon. So the computer will understand you're telling them, okay, this is the end of the first instruction or this line's instruction. Okay. So it can begin and end anywhere on a line. So it's on a single line. One statement can continue over several lines. It can be done also in that way. So you're giving a command, and that command or code is very long. Alright, sampai kan kita nak tengok dalam satu screen tak muat. You just can enter and continue with the second lines, okay, of the same command. You can do that also. But at the end of that specific command, you have to put in that semicolon. Okay. Are not case sensitive. Okay. There are some are not case sensitive for the function or instruction that you want to use, keyword that you want to use, like data or proc, right? It can be capital letter, it can be small letter. data or input or prompt, okay, is not case sensitive for this procedure or for that function, for that call, is not case sensitive, because these words have been reserved by SAS. When they find data, whether it's capital letter or small letter, it will consider it as you are putting in data. But in any other sentences or any other command, especially if you are using a file name or maybe a variable names, those is not case sensitive, but it is sensitive towards the whatever name that you use. It must be specific and it must be the same with what you are using. For example, you're calling later on in R, I'm using data that I've already put in my computer. I'm not putting it in manually. I have a file, a data file in my computer, and I put in the location of that file in my computer. Okay, they have to be very specific on the location of that that file, and also the file name. Probably, let's say you put in your file name as Putra, okay, Putra with big P, small UTRA. All right. So if when you call it in your R or SAS, you have to be very specific with that spelling. Similar, completely similar. Big P UTRA. Or else, if you put in small PUTRA, all small letters, the computer will never find that file. Okay, that is very sensitive. Okay, so I've told you this, but required words in a statement must be separated by blanks or special characters. Each of the word or function or the name, it will be separated by space. All right, or just now I told you, you can put in any other special characters, underscore, maybe a dot or whatever. Okay, may have comments included within slash followed by asterisk. All right, this is very important for the programmers. Okay, for us, probably our code is not that long. Okay, just a few lines of command. Very simple, very easy. But you imagine about the computer programmers that will have commands for, let's say, thousands of pages. Okay, a lot of things in there, very complicated software they are developing. This is a very common and normal practice of the programmers. They put in comments. Okay, like later on I'll show you why do you need comments. You want to tell for, okay, in your code for this section, this is what I'm going to do or what I'm doing. So you put in some comments there, but you have to put in the symbol slash asterisk and end with star slash. Okay, so the computer will recognize that as a comment. None of the procedures, not a code. Okay, it's not a code, so computer will ignore that sentence. Okay, none of my business. Put it aside. The computer will not run that sentence. Okay, so you put in slash star and then whatever comment that you want. So in this section, I want to put in, I want to do ANOVA and the data is from blah, 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 whatever note that you want to put in, comment. Sometimes to remind you later on when you work with thousands of pages of commands, you will put in some notes of telling you, okay, this is for what, this is for what, and then where did you get any important comments or any important notes that you want to put there, and to be excluded from the execution of the computers. Okay, so computer will not touch this. All right, so you have that slash star blah 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 blah, whatever comment you put, and then star slash end of the end of your notes or comments. right? This is for SAS. And for, I'll show you for the R later on. I did my my code for today's practical, okay, and I put in some notes so that I can tell you what is the function of this. All right, and excuse me, the SAS program is color coded. You will see that whether it's normal words or procedure words, they will be in color. All right, later on we'll see this. It can be blue and purple and red also. Okay, they will be um, they meant for something. Okay, the color, they are color coded. Okay, I cannot show you now because I don't have any SAS. And the program steps are separated into blocks. Okay, this is what I told you just now. You have the data steps, not one block. The SAS will divide it into two. Another one is the procedure, right? All your function or the test that you want to do with your data. So it will be into two blocks. So that is not really important. I mean, later on when you run using SAS, you can see these blocks automatically done by SAS. All right, so for problem one, okay, let me see berapa orang yang dah ada dalam kelas. Okay, ramai juga yang tak datang. Okay, whatever it is, you can share with your friend later. I'm not recording this, okay. Later on, maybe any of your classmates that didn't attend today's practical, probably you can help them to work with R, okay. That is a very good and fast way for you to learn. You teach other people, you will learn faster. All right, so okay, data of experiment 1 in practical 3. Let me see, is practical 3 is here. Yep. Yep, the rats data. Okay, data experiment 1 in practical 3, which is this one. Okay, this data. You already put the data into your data matrix in Excel, right? In previous practical. So we are going to use that. So you shall use that data for the following. These are the instructions. Generate summary statistics for the data using SAS. Okay, in this case, you are using R. Okay, whichever it is the output is about the same. No problem with that. So what is the statistical test that you should use to compare the effect of two diets on growth of the rats? Okay, so you have to put in the statistic, your hypothesis to be tested, and what are the the most appropriate statistical analysis to use for this data. Okay, so how many treatments means are involved? How many treatments? You have only diets, right? Is it? Yeah, the treatment variable is diets, and the treatments are diet 1 and diet 2. So only one variable. And experimental units in the two treatment group the experimental units in the two treatment groups are independent. What do you think? Are they independent or okay? First, what are the most appropriate statistical tests that we are going to use? Anyone? Ke semua orang tak ada depan komputer ni?
Ada.
Okay, alhamdulillah ada. Dia tak tidur. Okay. So, kita nak pakai test apa untuk ni? Kita ada satu treatment variable, which is diet, and ada dua group of treatment, diet 1 and diet 2. So, kita test pakai apa? Cuba je jawab. So, kita tengok betul ke tak betul, and then why.
T-test.
Ya?
T-test.
T-test. Syazwan, thanks. Yes, T-test, because kita ada satu je treatment variable with only 2 groups. Okay, so T-test will be most appropriate, and you know that we have two T-test type, right? So this is why in the question I asked, these 2 treatment groups are independent or not. So which of the T-test that you are going to use? We have 2 paired T-tests and also independent T-test. Independent data, independent mean T-test. Which one that we are going to use?
Paired.
Paired T-test? Kenapa Jonathan punya suara macam suara perempuan lah? Sebab yang blinking dekat Jonathan punya ni, and then suara dia suara perempuan.
Okay. Ini Zushaza.
You're using his computer
Now we are in sana je?
Doctor, we are attending the class together because we are in Ladang now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry, doctor, because we have to harvest this morning.
Oh, okay, for your FYP ke? Belum lagi kan?
Bukan. For our business subject, but we have to harvest because the buyer wants it this morning. I'm so sorry, doctor.
Oh, no problem. Oh, projek you bela apa Puyuh
Tak, untuk SEM ni kami tanam sayur.
Oh, yang kangkung tu
Kangkung, sawi dengan, doktor nak beli ke?
Boleh juga. Tapi hari ni I don't know, I datang office ke tak, lepas ni I need to go to somewhere else.
Okay, doktor.
Mungkin minggu depan ada harvest lagi ke?
Untuk grup saya dah tak ada, dah habis dah.
Group lain ada.
Okay, whatever it is, kalau minggu depan ada, minggu depan pun saya tak ada. Minggu depan I'll be in Kedah and also be in Tulu. So anyway, let's continue. So it's not paired T-test, okay, because they are independent. Paired T-test, they must be, there are 3 types of paired T-test kan. Genetically pairing, macam clone ataupun twins, ataupun they are sharing some similar characteristics kan. So itu paired T-test, but now we are doing independent sample T-test. Alright, so okay, run the SAS procedure to compare the mean weight gains and of the rats on 2 diets and interpret. You have to do test of equality of variance. You want to test. One of the assumption for T-test, remember that they have equal variance. So they have the equal variance for both groups. So you have to test that. So test of equality of variance, and you state the hypothesis and then explain your statistical decision, state your conclusion in your statistical analysis, right? So for this test of equality of variance. So now you do T-test comparing the means, blah, 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 blah. You have to state whether it's 1 tail or 2 tail. What do you think for this one? Is it 1 tail or 2 tail test? You are comparing 2 diets, okay? Your hypothesis testing, your null hypothesis should be diets have no effect on on the rat's body weight. Or another one is the alternative hypothesis will be diet has significant effects. Okay, so whether is it to one tail or two tail t-test? Any idea? One tail or two tail? Aisha, any idea?
I think two-tail, doctor.
Yeah, it's two tail. So group 1 and group 2, if you are accepting the alternative hypothesis, it can be group 1 is better than group 2, or maybe group 2 is better than group 1. So whichever it is. So it can be two tail because it doesn't state any of saying that probably group 1 is better than group 2. So there will be one tail. All right. But in this case, you don't know which one is better. So it should be a two-tail t-test, right? So, and blah, 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 blah. You have to put in all your hypotheses and statistical decision and conclusion and save content of your SAS commands. Save it. So later on, if you want to use it or you want to modify it, you will have all those commands. All right. Save it, and you will do the same for R. Later I'll show you. Okay. All right. So now open up your RStudio. Okay.